Oh, it's me, Galen, you beautiful, beautiful people. I want to talk to you today about painting figures the way I do it, because it might be interesting, it might not. I'm using foundry paint, as pretty much I do a lot. I use things like the Citadel for ink, and I've also got, the things like this. I'm not an exclusive Citadel painter. I've not been paid by Foundry or promoted. I just like them. And as a painter with Parkinson's, which I find a tricky proposition, using these paints or similar paints, which I must admit I haven't found anyone who does this, so I'd love you to comment and tell me if they do and what you think about them. Foundry paint aren't the cheapest paint, but they certainly give you a fantastic end product. I've been using them for years and years and years and years, and rarely have to top up and titivate things that have chipped, fell off, rotted. What I do like is the fact that they come in 3 shades. So if I can show you this one, this is drab shade. So I have spray undercoated my figures here because I undercoat in a colour that's appropriate to the figure. So these chaps are going to be wearing brown, and the reason that they're going to be wearing brown is because historically they're going to be used as continental troops in the Caribbean, and the one colour that means they could be English, French, Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese is if they wear brown. So I've undercoated them brown, primed them brown. So I can use the shade, then I would just use the middle version, and then I can go to the light. Now, as a painter with Parkinson's and a shaky hand, I find it really hard to get a good end product, and I don't have to do any mixing and matching. I very, very rarely actually mix paint together. I like it to come, I use it straight out of the pot. I find it easy. But the other thing that's an interesting psychological paint method which I get from this is that because I've laid all the paint out, that's the first thing I do. I look at the figure and I go through, what do I need to paint the figures? So I've laid it all out. And I'm going to start from I paint the figures top to bottom. So I've got a chap here. I've literally just started, and all the hat's going to be black. So I start with the hat black. You see the shaky hand there as a little demonstration. You imagine trying to paint with that. It's fantastic fun. So the black hat, so then I go through, is anything else black? Now, I don't necessarily do everything because some things are going to get undone. They're in the way. They don't need doing just yet. Then I'll do the hair, and then I do the face and his neck wear and then his coat and so on. And I'll come down the figure till I get to the feet. And they'll do the darkest of all of the shades. So by the time I get to the end, not only have I cleared out an entire row of paint, I'm a third done. That feels good. I know I can come back now and I go to the next level of the tones and the shades, and I can go along and do the middle row of paint, and again I go from head to toe, and as I come down I smudge. So when I'm doing the face, for example, I will smudge. I know I'm going to smudge. When I hold a paintbrush, it does that. When I hold a figure, that hand's not too bad, which is good, because apparently the second stage, I'm on stage 1 with my Parkinson's. Stage 2 is that hand starts as well. So I don't want that to happen, because there are only 5 stages. So that doesn't sound good. But trying to do that isn't easy. I do have various devices. I have this chappy mine's from Citadel, but I think you can get them from everywhere. And they take round bases or they take square bases, and you pop the figure in there and you can grip him super tight. And I find the harder I grip him, the better. And if I put him against a table or a worktop, I can push down, and that stops the shaking. That helps a lot. Trouble with doing it like that is I have to keep changing the figure. I have to put the next one because I'm doing 8 this time. I don't normally do that. I tend to do 1. I've also got this chappy, which my daughter got me, where you put the figure in there, and that then allows you to rest your brush in whatever angle you're at. You can put your finger on there, and that gives you an even tighter, different sort of grip. So that's a useful piece of kit. Find that on the internet. I think my daughter mentioned it to the Parkinson's UK Society. She mentioned it in a chat forum, and a railway modeller suggested that. So there are things. I've also got one. It's got like 2 crocodile clips, and you can do that with your arms, and that's good. So that's another useful piece of advice. So it's hard to paint figures, but it's doable, and I love doing it. I started by buying figures from places like eBay that were pretty much painted, and then I would bring them home and I would titivate them, add some little bits of paint, like this fella. This is a Citadel Games Workshop 1984 elf. So he came along. If you notice, some of these things that need doing are tiny. Just there, he's got a blob of green on his leather pouch. Needs very little work. This part of his jacket was all dark brown, and I just got a paler colour, and see how my hand's shaking now. I just let it do that. I just let it shake like that, and it's given it I think it's quite a pleasing weathered effect. And once I realised how much pleasure I got out of doing that, I went on and carried on, and that's got me back into painting figures. I suppose the final thing to say about painting with Parkinson's is that you don't have to be perfect. You're not trying to win a Golden Demon Award. You're just doing it for you. So have fun. I don't know if that helps anybody. Every now and again I do something like this, because the whole purpose of setting up this channel was I was sat with my Parkinson's, painting, wargaming, making a mess, covering myself in paint, and I thought maybe there's someone else out there who feels the same, wishes they were doing it, would like to be doing it, and isn't. And I could sit here and show them that, to be honest, it's okay. You can be a complete useless idiot and still enjoy the hobby. So,